Yeah, that was, that was a really, it was planned about a year in advance. And Crockett, I got to give Jim Crockett Jr. Some really good props here, because he and that's Michael Hayes trying to call me right now, but I'm not going to pick up for him. So I'm keeping you guys on and ignoring Michael Hayes. so anyway, Michael, I'll talk to you later. So anyway, yeah, what was the question again? Michael distracted me.
Starrcade 83.
Sorry for taking you back. Yeah, Jimmy had put that show together, and it was, we wanted it to be, one of the first everything. And it was so tough back in those days to get closed circuit everywhere. And Jimmy, at the last minute, it didn't happen. Some of his business people, we weren't able to get it. So it ended up just, basically being a classic, but it was shown in all through Carolinas. We had it in some of the buildings around. But Jimmy had put together a card, and Dusty had just come in. I think that was one of Dusty's first really big productions that he did with Crockett, with Starrcade 83. And but he was wise, as Dusty is. He just stayed back out of the way and really wasn't involved. I don't think it was even on the card that night, or he was just involved in some minor way. But he was running the show, and it had his fingerprints all over it. And but it was a really exciting week. Of course, Thanksgiving weeks, every year in Carolina, there was always that big Greensboro show. So you look forward to that, because you know you're going to make your rest of the year payoff and that show there. So we're all looking forward to it. And we did like a 6-month build up. It was a big production. It's like, we used to do WrestleMania, just build up to, and we had, like I said, it was Piper and Valentine. It was Flair and Race and the Briscoes, Steamboat, Youngblood, and Youngblood, and we had just stars everywhere. I think there's 12 Hall of Fame members on that card, and that's unbelievable, for that time. So, but it was an exciting night, and I just wasn't nervous at all, just ready to go. The competition juices had kicked in, and the 4 of us was ready, and we just went out and just did what we were paid to do. It was fun,
And it's definitely Starrcade 83. I mean, it still holds up to this day, where you can go back and watch all the main matches, and you could basically put them on any wrestling show right now, and they would still hold up, because they are so brutal. Some of them, obviously Valentine and Piper, and they're so stiff. Some of them, it's a great show. But I just want to jump forward a little bit here, just briefly. I got to ask about when you guys got to the WWF in 1984, because that was very cool to see. When we went back to look and see that you guys made such a name for yourself across the territories, but finally came up to New York. And when you got to New York, greeted very, very nicely with a little run there with Dickie Murdoch and Adrian Adonis, who were running roughshod through the territory. But did it mean anything big to get to New York after all those years of floating around all the different territories?
Yes and no. Yes, it did, because, I'd been in Madison Square Garden, but I'd never been in Boston Garden. I'd never been in Philly Spectrum, the big venues like that. But I was fortunate in my career, though, where I worked big Houston shows, big St. Louis shows. And quite honestly, back in my days, I mean, if you made the top matches in St. Louis, that was as big as you could get, And so I'd done that. So when I got to New York, I was thrilled because of the capacity of the consistency each night of the numbers of people. That's what amazed me. It wasn't, if you break them down individually, it wasn't such a big deal. But holy cow, you're hitting Madison Square Garden one night, the Boston Garden the next night, the Philly Spectrum the next night, Pittsburgh big arena one night, and LA the next night. Houston, Dallas, Minneapolis, and it's like, 7, 8 nights in a row, and you're seeing 15, 20,000 people. That was the buzz. That was the thrill for me. It was the consistency of it, not the individual part of it there. And the getting to run with Dickie Murdoch and Adrian, we'd known them both for a long time, especially, like I said, with Dickie, back in my early career. I was friends him. And then Adrian Keith Franks had a great run down here in Florida, and I got to be a friend with him. So it was like a reunion when we went back, and we all four of us knew each other very well, knew what we were capable of. So, it was Vince gave us an opportunity, and that opportunity came because of the Samoans and the Freebirds. The Freebirds got let go because one of them got a little inebriated. Imagine that, the Freebirds, and they got fired, and they had a run going. And then the Samoans, they got upset over a payday and walked out. So we were like Vince's reserve team. But we started working with Murdoch and Adonis, and the damn thing got over so well that we abandoned that reserve team and became the A team, sort of say, on it, and went all around the country with them for several months. And finally, Jack, just the historic story, we were in Newark, New Jersey, in a blizzard. Morocco was picking us up. We couldn't find the cars and the blizzard out there. And Jack heard a plane heading south. He said, "Gerald, see that plane there?" He said, "Next one heading south, I'm on." So I'm gone. I'm going back home. And that was it. We decided to call it quits then. So I went on to Philly and explained to him Jack had retired suddenly. and that's when I kind of took a little hiatus at that time there. A few months later, I got called and asked if I wanted to kind of join the administration part of the company there. Of course, I jumped at the opportunity and been there ever since.
I was going to say, definitely a phone call that would last a lifetime, because you're still, it's very tied into the brain trust. But I'll tell you what, with that run in the WWF, I haven't really heard that much ever in that much detail talked about, because not that it wasn't a short run, but like you said, Jack decided that he wanted to kind of head back, and that was the end of it. But you guys were tied in back, even doing Piper's Pit at one point, and getting to kind of tie up with some of the young guns that were coming in. But what did you think of the New York scene and the guys that were coming in at that point? Because obviously you guys were on the brink of WrestleMania 1 just as you guys were getting into the company. So what did you kind of think of the whole entire New York territory as a whole with what they were planning on doing?
Well, you just hit the key word where Jack had actually made up his mind when you said young guns, because we were scheduled to go into WrestleMania, and Jack just literally didn't. Jack was a perfectionist, and he'd know that he was in his 40s, and he was honest with himself, and he knew that he didn't have that energy and that passion to commit to a title run. And he was Jack Brisco, and he wasn't going to be anything but Jack Brisco. So that's what really led to his retirement, that he just knew that he couldn't perform on the level that we wanted to do anymore. And he said, "I'm not going to embarrass myself or embarrass you or the name." So that's really one of the reasons why he decided to call it quit, because our next go-round was going to be against Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham. I forgot the Young Stallions, I think they were called, or I can't remember what they're called, the Young Americans. You remember their names, whatever they was at that time?
U.S. Express.
U.S. Express, but that was going to be our next program after Murdoch and Adonis and WrestleMania. And Jack just didn't want to do that program. He said, "I don't have the energy to do it. I don't have the passion to do it. And I just don't want to do it." And he said, "You can say and do whatever you want to do, but there was a tag team deal, package deal, and I was kind of at the point too where I was wanting to take a little break because we'd made the sell and pretty comfortable, and I just wanted some time too. So that's when he quit, because he knew what was coming. He knew we'd have a run with Rotunda and Windham, Rotunda and the other kid, Barry, and we just didn't have the energy to do it. And it takes a commitment. And as you probably read back in those days, it was not unusual to go 90 to 100 days in a row without a day off, and it was brutal travel. So he just didn't want to do it, and I can't blame him looking back on it.